Joining me now is my panel, New South Wales One Nation leader Tania Mihailuk and Sky News contributor Tina McQueen. Hi to you, both of you. Good to see you as always. Look, let's start with this ducking and weaving by Tanya Plibersek. Tanya, this of course would have been fantastic for New South Wales economically. Does the public deserve answers as to what's gone on here?
Well, I would think that the Premier of New South Wales and indeed the Treasurer would also want answers, because they've just lost $200 million in royalties, which would have helped towards hospitals, schools, roads in New South Wales. So absolutely Plibersek cannot continue to hide under a veil of secrecy and use that little bit of the legislation where she can argue that she's got the power as a minister to not respond or to provide any kind of public explanation. Essentially, she hasn't got the guts to front up to the media and explain properly why she has decided to back a what looks like a splinter group of 18 people, some of whom didn't even put their full names to this document, back in 21 decided to seek a Section 10 order, which she finally waited 3 years later to give Plibersek. At the same time, Regis Resources have spent millions of dollars. They've got all their approvals for this gold mine. We're talking $1 billion project New South Wales and Central West in New South Wales will miss out on. 800 jobs, ancillary jobs, businesses in Central West and across New South Wales that miss out. This is a huge loss for New South Wales, and one that I think, Madeleine King, we haven't heard from her, the Minister for the Resources. She should be questioning her colleague on this. And indeed, New South Wales, Labor New South Wales should be questioning Plibersek over this. She does, she owes answers, and she owes answers to the Regis Resources Group themselves, because as I've said, they have got every approval they needed to get across the last 4 years.
Absolutely.
And how disingenuous of the minister to suggest, well, hang on, there's a lot of land, you can put your tailings dam somewhere else. Takes a lot of geotech work, takes a lot of engineering work to work out where you would put that dam.
Absolutely.
She knows she's excluded, I think, something like 400 hectares from their site in a really critical point of that site.
Absolutely.
So she knows she's killed the project off, and she's proud of it, because it suits the narrative, doesn't it? That's why she's relying on this splinter group.
It does, and she's saying, well, no, it's tradition. That's why we can't say anything. We can't owe the public an explanation here. And Tina, you've now got local Aboriginal elders who don't know who this Auntie Nairi is, who's plastered all over Tanya Plibersek's social media page. It just seems like one big joke.
Well, the gentleman you referenced in your lead-up is Roy R.C. He's a very distinguished Aboriginal elder, and what he has to say would be the absolute truth. He doesn't know this woman and knows nothing about it. It's absolutely disgraceful. Now, we're having our Bush Summit in Orange next week, so that's going to be very interesting. I mean, the timing is just remarkable, because that area needs employment so much, and it hasn't just been 4 years. I mean, Regis has put like 10 years of effort into this. It's absolutely devastating for the area, devastating for New South Wales, and look, something has to be done to try and fix this.
Well, it reeks of hypocrisy. There's so many unanswered questions. It's a complete joke. But look, today the question of what is a woman was asked in an Australian court of law in a landmark gender rights case. Now, the outcome delivered by a judge was that sex is interchangeable. You heard that correct, interchangeable. I am referring to the landmark Tickle versus Giggle case. Transgender woman Roxanne Tickle has won a novel gender identity case brought about by a women's-only social media app and its owner after she was excluded from the platform. Now, the Federal Court Justice Robert Bromwich found the Giggle for Girls and its owner Sal Grover had indirectly discriminated against Ms Tickle and ordered her to pay the trans woman $10,000 as well as legal costs. Tanya, for some reason, this seems to be the most challenging and difficult decision of our time. Now, I would define a woman as an adult female, but according to the judge here, it's interchangeable. What does this say about women's rights in this country?
Well, it means that women don't actually legally exist in this country. That's what it actually means. But look, this was on the back of 2013, that Sex Discrimination Act, back in the days of Gillard and the Labor government back then. They made those changes that we will be suffering from for years and years to come. It's not a surprise that we're now seeing this type of court cases, and you'll see more of them. Look, the way they have essentially convoluted the issue of gender as a result of that act it was almost a given that they would lose this this court case. And I feel for the group, and good on them that they're going to continue the fight. But it's important that they've exposed the issue, because the public need to understand the reality is that any club, any group, any institution can be challenged in the future when it comes to this issue.
It's such a worry.
It's such a real worry, and people need to understand that it's all been driven from the left-wing women, whether they're Labor, Greens, and the left in the Liberal Party, have decided that these rights are more important than women's rights. The women's rights are now secondary, and they don't have the legal standing as a result of
they have to appeal this decision.
Well, they can appeal, but I don't hold out hope. I don't hold out hope, because that act is very significant.
They have to try, because there are literally no safe spaces for women anymore. I mean, this is just ridiculous, a very dangerous precedent. But by the way, this piece of news has gone all around the world. I mean, it's not just Australia-wide. All the leftists in every country that support this are clapping and cheering, but we have to fight back and help them to appeal this decision.
Absolutely. And my issue with it is we've got women that go through the justice system all the time because they are victims of domestic violence, yet men get away with it in many of these cases, as we certainly know. But it just feels like the justice system will protect men who identify as women, but not actual women's rights. They're failing women. It's a really bad precedent, as you said. Now, look, if you're a self-funded retiree, look out. Albanese is now coming for your money. Some self-funded retirees entering a nursing home after July next year face an average of $40,000 extra out of their own pocket because of new laws, and Labor is looking to adopt recommendations for greater personal co-contributions. Tanya, good or bad policy?
Look, does it surprise anybody that the Labor Party wants to punish people who have worked hard all their life? I mean, that's what it's about, isn't it? Self-retirees who actually have worked to fund their own retirement are now going to have to pay more. And look, in the end, legislation will have to be passed in this end. This has been going on for so long, this issue around Royal Commission, how to look after older Australians. But we know that Labor was always going to be about this, always going to be about making sure that middle Australia, people who've worked their guts out throughout their lives, are the ones that are going to end up paying for it. And, you know, it's a really sad situation, I think, because, you know, it just says that older Australians, particularly those who've worked hard, are just disregarded by the system. I hope people can see what this is all about. As always, Labor Party will never want to actually reward people who work hard, but instead punish them. And that's what this is. It's punishing people who work hard.
It's punishing people. They've worked hard all their lives, Tina. What message does this now send to self-funded retirees?
Spend it before you...
Correct. Spend it now.
Sell everything and spend it.
Look, it's a serious problem, because we do have an ageing population. People are living longer, and something has to be done. And I know that the government is consulting with the opposition, but it's very difficult. The people who do work their guts out their entire life will inevitably suffer out of this. So that's a real problem.
Yeah, I can understand that they are trying to come up with solutions because we do have that ageing population. But to rob self-funded retirees of 40 grand of their own pocket is just, I think it's a shocker.
Well, going back to the original savings, spend it, Denise.
Yeah, well, that's it. I like that. You go on a holiday, I say.
Go on a cruise.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, look, the president of the New South Wales Liberal Party, John Harlan, somehow he's still there, still got a job, more than a week, of course, after the local elections debacle. But it's been a strange week for the party, because 2GB radio host Ray Hadley revealed on air that he received leaks designed to damage the New South Wales Liberal leader Mark Speakman from the Shadow Attorney General Alastair Henskins and member for Lane Cove Anthony Roberts. Tanya, I mean, look, this is a mess. It gets murkier and murkier. The backgrounding that's been exposed this week. Mark Speakman saying one thing now. Harwan's still in a job. How
unbelievable. A week later, Harwan is still in a job, and there hasn't been any federal intervention to date. And look, now you're seeing the Liberals leaking on their leader. None of this is helpful. None of it's helpful. It doesn't surprise me that Henskins has had to sort of grovel his way back. I mean, he has talent. He's needed in the shadow ministry, but it doesn't bode well for the New South Wales Liberal Party. They've already had a huge hit and major debacle with the fact that they're not going to have any presence in a large number of councils across Sydney and New South Wales. They haven't dealt with the issue they need to do, and that is head office. Focus on the party office. I don't know why the focus has been back on the New South Wales leadership. I mean, suck it up. You're in opposition. You're going to have to, cope with the leader you have now. Get it together. Don't impact the federal Liberal campaign, because it will impact their campaign if they don't get it together, and focus on the long game. And the first thing you need to do is get rid of your party office.
Look, the issue is being dealt with. No one's sitting back and ignoring this. I can promise you. I mean, Mr. Dutton considers things very carefully. Every gut decision he makes is correct. I have no doubt he makes a correct decision in this. It just takes a little time. We're waiting on a review from Brian Loughnane, who's absolutely a great guy to do this, and will well-research the subject and get on top of it. Action will be taken. Speakman, I don't think he will be there next election as leader. I really don't. Now's not the time to get rid of him, but no doubt he won't be leading the Liberal Party to the next state election. I have no doubt about that.
So why is Don Harwin still there then?
He won't be there long. Don't worry.
Right. So you're saying that you think that the federal intervention is coming. Is that what you're saying?
I think action will be taken.
Right. Okay.
Well, but let's wait for Brian Loughlane's review.
The longer that waits, the more problems you're going to see, and lots more leaks and issues and division in the Liberal Party. It doesn't look like it at this stage, Tina. It's terrible at this stage.
I have faith in the leader, and we all need to have faith in the leader.
All right. So confirming you reckon the federal intervention is coming, Tina. You're giving us a scoop. Okay, all right. Well, we'll be waiting on that, because we'll hold you to it, because, gee, it's been a shocker. I mean, it is, and I do agree with Tanya.
I'm not denying that.
I do agree with Tanya. It is putting the focus away from where it needs to be. I mean,
Dutton's doing such a great job.
Labor's loving it.
Totally. Absolutely. All right, well, we'll watch that space. But look, I want to change the pace with you both. Before we end the panel tonight, what would you do if you were one of the richest people in the world? Well, Amazon founder Jeffrey Bezos has reportedly bought his fourth private jet, as you do, for $80 million that flies near the speed of sound. How's that? What do you reckon? I mean, if you had the money, you would do it.
Where does he plan to go? And who's going to travel with him?
Well, wherever he's going, he's going to get there very quickly.
Yes.
Well, if you're a self-funded retiree out there, maybe you can look at Jeffrey Bezos
what a new
for
girlfriend now, doesn't he?
If they introduce that amount of cost, it's actually cheaper for elderly people to live on a cruise. I've looked at some of this. The daily rate on a cruise is cheaper, will be cheaper than in a nursing home. So there's an option for you. Just sail your days out on a cruise.
I mean, how good does that sound? Out in the Bahamas somewhere sounds pretty good to me, Tanya Mihailuk.
Just before we go, a special hello to some new viewers, the Central Coast Grammar School women, the mothers there. Love your show. Hi, the Central Coast Grammar.
Hi, in Central Coast. Glad we could have them watching us tonight. Tanya Mihailuk, Tina McQueen, great to have you both on. Thank you so much.